Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope, wow, I already got somebody jumping in. I'm going to talk today about polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. PCOS is a very common condition, one of the most common medical conditions that there is. At least 10% of women, which means 5 to 6% of the population, are impacted by this condition, which is diagnosed by what's called the Rotterdam criteria. Three different medical problems that start with polycystic ovaries, multiple cysts on the ovaries, and are combined with androgenism and irregular periods. Androgenism means excess testosterone, which can cause hair growth, and most importantly, as it applies to the Get Fit and Be Lean program, weight gain. So PCOS, although it is a very common condition, a commonly presenting problem, it has a wide variety of constellation of symptoms that go beyond the criteria. And there's even some talk about expanding the criteria, including the other issues. Most commonly mentioned is depression. And I want to explain that the only reason that I'm addressing PCOS here on my own stream is because I've had multiple questions asked about it. And otherwise, I think it's important to stress, I'm not a gynecologist. I am not a endocrinologist. And that's who you should be consulting about PCOS. Okay, you can access a OBGYN as a primary medical source for women, and once this is diagnosed, you can get a referral to an endocrinologist. Endocrinology is a subspecialty. That means there are medical doctors who are then trained in medicine and then trained again, particularly in hormonal fluctuations, treatment, diseases. So I really want to explain that for the purposes of the Get Fit and Be Lean program, trying to talk about treatment of PCOS is really beyond the scope of my practice. It's beyond the scope of my knowledge, and I'm not going to get into hormonal treatments for PCOS, but I do want to talk about some of the recent studies that have looked particularly at diet and exercise as they impact PCOS. So I don't want to pretend that I'm the person to ask if you have PCOS, what you should do about your PCOS. That's not my role here. And you should really refrain from searching around on the internet to random non-specialized physicians who don't work in endocrinology, who aren't gynecologists, to ask them about your PCOS, because there's lots of information out there on the internet, and there are a lot of people who are willing to throw around terms that sound pseudo-scientific. I would say it's not pointless to treat this syndrome, but I want to focus on exercise, okay? And there are a number of ongoing studies that are looking at the combination of diet and exercise, diet alone, exercise alone, and particularly what kind of exercise. Is it aerobic? Favorite year, the Grateful Dead. Probably when they came out with Working Man Dead. I'm supposed to have some help doing some moderation here, because a lot of people pour into the lives with some very unusual comments. But what I want to talk about is the benefit of diet and exercise. So if you can just begin with the most simple level of exercise possible, I think that you can see benefits not just on your regularity of the menstrual period, not just on the distribution and disposition of the body fat, but also in the depression that frequently goes along with PCOS that's related to hormonal fluctuations. So, what I want to emphasize is that the Get Fit and Be Lean program is designed for pretty much anyone to just start. That's all you got to do is start. And the reason I chose calisthenics for the Get Fit and Be Lean program is because they're free. You don't have to spend any money. They don't require any equipment, any enrollment, any subscriptions. You don't have to have any kind of supplements or add anything to your diet. But what I started with, which certainly is not a reflection of how this is going to impact somebody with PCOS, is 3 simple calisthenics: sit-ups, push-ups, and jumping jacks. And the thing about the Get Fit and Be Lean program, for many people who are already overweight, who have had a sedentary lifestyle, you can adjust these to your own situation. And so I would encourage you to stitch or duet your workout with one of the ones I have online and start with just these 3 simple exercises every other day. If you can't do sit-ups, lay flat and just pull your shoulder blades up off the ground, do a crunch with your arms crossed. If you can't do a full push-up, you can do a push-out against a firm surface like a counter or a bar, or you can do push-ups with your knees bent and your ankles crossed, where you're only working with part of your body weight. If you can't do jumping jacks, you just raise your arms up over your head, you raise your toes just a little. And with these 3 simple exercises every other day, you will see a change in your vitality, in your physicality, in your stamina, your strength. And slowly you'll be able to increase that. And that's where I really want to focus, because this is where the depression and the hormonal fluctuations that come in with PCOS can really obstruct your commitment to just stick with a program. And there are people looking right now in randomized controlled studies at comparing, yes, it is possible to overexercise, comparing resistance weight training as opposed to, not really sure why it does that, as opposed to an aerobic cardiovascular kind of exercise. There's not a real definitive benefit of one as to another, but there is clearly a benefit in diet and exercise as opposed to just diet or exercise alone. As far as diet, I remain convinced that a broad, varied diet is the one that people are going to most likely adhere to. And so that's why I really put my meals out there on the TikTok videos that I've produced that are in my profile. My meals are just widely varied, and what I focus on is portion control. Can't get under 175. It's not surprising, if you've had some success, that you would reach a point where it seems like you can't get any farther. I've talked in the past about thermogenic adaptation. Your body is always looking to determine what your current energy balance is, energy in versus energy out. And if that is negative, if you are losing weight because you have a negative energy balance, your body is going to try to adjust that. And through thermogenic adaptation, it'll uncouple these biochemical processes in your body, and it will determine that you have a lower resting metabolic rate when you're not exercising. And people are shocked when they find they can eat the same amount, they can exercise the same amount. They were losing a pound, 2, 3 pounds a week, and now they're not losing any. That they should not be shocked. Your body is not a machine. It's not something you put gas in. If you push on the pedal harder, the gas burns faster. That's not the way it works. There is a whole very complex interplay of hormonal control and facilitation of digestion that will limit how much you can lose in any given period of time. Now, is it going to limit how much you can lose over the long term? No, you can get down to a healthy, lean weight, but it may take a lot longer than you think it would. And there may be periods where you have a great deal of success, and then suddenly you don't have any success. But you have to concentrate on the non-scale victories, and particularly in PCOS, when you talk about the depression that can go along with that, when you talk about the irregular periods, the androgenism, these are things that can be impacted by decreasing overall body fat. And the way that I think is the best approach is with a lean, hearty, healthy diet, 2 servings of raw or steamed vegetables at lunch, and 2 servings at dinner. And sometimes when I make this recommendation, I ask people what's a vegetable, and people can come up with lettuce. That's the one thing they almost always say. But then typically the next thing they'll tell me is tomatoes, which are not a vegetable. Tomatoes are a berry. They are surrounded by a skin. They keep seeds, and they are a storage area for the plant to promote its next generation. And then they'll say carrots. Carrots also not a vegetable in this meaning of the word. Carrots are a storage organ. They store starch underground for the plant. And so when I'm talking about 2 servings of raw or steamed vegetables at lunch and 2 servings at dinner, what I mean is leafy green vegetables that grow above the ground. And if you can only come up with 1, lettuce, that is probably going to inhibit your ability to maintain the variety necessary to continue this process. Most people are going to give up. So what I recommend is you try to learn about all of the different types of vegetables that you can eat. Lettuce, spinach, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, fennel, celery. All of these things are leafy, green, grow above the ground, and can help you increase now squashes are a gourd. Okay, gourds are storage areas for the plant. They contain the seeds, they contain the nutrition for the next generation of the plant. That's not the kind of vegetables I'm talking about. The thing about leafy green vegetables that I'm speaking of is that they are high bulk, and so the calorie density is much lower, so you get that feeling of fullness without getting the calorie load, the energy increase that you might get from some other food. And if you start with that for lunch and you start with that for dinner, you can add in your proteins and starches as you like, but it's going to decrease your tendency to eat more and have more of an energy input than you absolutely. With African Americans, much higher incidence of PCOS, maybe 50% higher. And definitely accompanied, thank you for the comment, I appreciate it, definitely accompanied by even higher rates of obesity and central obesity. So through the Get Fit and Be Lean program, I've lost over 50 pounds. I posted my weigh-in today on my weigh-in playlist. TikTok, once again, dumped all my voiceovers, but if you've been to any of my videos, you've heard me say the same things pretty much over and over again. And yes, if she has PCOS, she should talk to a gynecologist and she should talk to an endocrinologist. Okay, those are the people that you should talk to. It's been 9 months. As of today, I started the Get Fit and Be Lean program on January 1st, and I've videotaped almost every workout. I've posted photographs of almost every meal. And I do believe that this is a widely applicable program. I think that almost anybody can increase their activity, decrease their total caloric intake by increasing the bulk of their food, and get a healthy and hearty diet. I'm not going to eliminate, if you're going to go to people in New York, tell them not to eat bagels, go to all of Asia, tell them not to eat noodles and rice, go to South America, tell them not to eat tortillas. I don't think you're going to get very far. So, yes, growing vegetables is definitely a nice option to keep the fresh foods flowing in, and so I do recommend that. Getting back to PCOS, if you haven't had success, you need to understand that this is a relatively new field of understanding. They're talking about changing the criteria for the disease right now. I mean, this is a consensus criteria for a disease that hadn't been described really before. And when you talk about fertility problems in particular, subspecialty centers in major cities are probably going to be where you have to go. And I don't have a solution for all problems, and I don't want to propose that I do. But I think if you can pursue the Get Fit and Be Lean program, even if you are someone carrying the diagnosis of PCOS, then you can see some benefits, and research is clear that the symptoms of PCOS can be improved with decreasing body fat percentage, with decreasing visceral fat, and increased activity and vitality through regular exercise. Routine trumps motivation pretty much 9 times out of 10. So don't wait until you're motivated to pursue something. Just make it routine. This is what you do every day, same as you brush your teeth, same as you put your shoes on. So I didn't expect this to be a very long live, but I hope it is going to continue to be a regular part of my TikTok account, and I'm trying to do it on YouTube. I'm not sure it works quite as well. Don't get nearly as many views anyway. But I'm happy with the platform, and I think it's given me the opportunity to reach way more people than I ever thought I would. I hope that you'll continue to watch my videos. I hope you'll continue to stitch the workout videos and tell me if any of this is working for you, because I really get encouraged if people get benefit from it. And if you have any further questions about PCOS, I would reserve them for an endocrinologist or gynecologist or fertility specialist. But if you have any questions for me about the Get Fit and Be Lean program, you can go right up to my, oops, is that the wrong side? Yeah, I think so. You can go right up to my profile. I have a Q&A tab. I try to answer questions on videos themselves. And I'll continue to go live. I'll continue to post both here and on Twitter. So I would really want to request that you go to my Twitter account, look at my hashtag, help me get that account a little more noticed. I post a lot of articles there on weight loss and nutrition. So I think it gives people an access to a link where they can kind of read it in the general layperson terminology. I tend to slide into scientific jargon pretty quickly. I apologize for that, but a lot of this stuff, I don't really know any other way to explain it. When somebody says polycystic ovarian syndrome, you can figure we're getting into the weeds of science, and it's not going to be a single syllable conversation. So, yeah, please check out my Twitter account, Dr. Kadel. It should be under the same hashtag. You should be able to find it. And anybody else that has any questions, please go up to my Q&A tab, and I'll be happy to see if I can answer them for you. Please follow, please like the account, please continue to follow me. I'm going to continue on this process. I feel like I've got a ways to go, but boy, I've made so much progress. I'm really happy with the way. I mean, I'm down more than 20% of my body weight. I'm at a weight I haven't been at in more than 20 years. And I've done it all without any medications or surgeries. I don't have a coach. I don't have a program. I don't go to a gym. I just started working out and trying to change the way I eat. I have actually added more to what I eat than taken anything away, because I think that it's just necessary for me to continue on the process. If I'm starving myself, if I'm depriving myself, I'm going to give in. As soon as I get so busy and get sad, I'm going to eat more than I should of things that I can't have, and then I'm going to throw in the towel. And this is why I think a lot of these restrictive diets really don't work long for the majority of the population. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming, and I hope that this will help somebody.